Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. If you guys need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We do have a discount going on. It's holidays, it's the coupon code. It's in the description link below if you'd like to check it out. That's where I talk about individual companies, individual stocks, and whatnot. So let's dive in here. Let's see what's going on today, and I give you my financial opinions. We're starting off with the DXY. We've got that white line, which is a very long-term support level. We've got support going on right now, and we're kind of squeezing up here. Which direction are we going to go? The way that I view it, we entered pretty strongly from the top side, and we'll see if we can break through this support level. We may not be able to break through it, but let's watch it. Let's see if we can punch through this thing to the downside. The momentum is there. What's going to cause that to occur? I would watch yields. If yields continue to fall, we could see a lower move in the DXY. So looking at the 2-year yield, we obviously were lower today and substantially lower, down 2.12%. If you take a big picture view look, so generally what you see is you see lots of big green candlesticks, small red candlesticks here. You start zooming in, you get your first hit in the head here with that big hit. You get a lot of, bigger sell-off here. And I think that's the beginning of a potential rollover move that we are going to see in yields. It's that big, strong impulse, selling pressure, distribution type move in this pattern here. And then you can see these big red selling pressure candlesticks marked all through here. So people are buying bonds, or the yields are coming on back. And that looks like that we could continue that. And we'll see if we can continue lower on the 2-year yield. The 10-year yield is also just deflating lower, momentum to the downside, and that looks like we could easily get to 3.5%, 3.4%, somewhere down in that range. And then the 30-year yield is also falling, not as much as the 2-year, but that continues to fall, and there's momentum behind it. We could fall a good long ways here. What does that mean, and what are the ramifications of these yields falling? It means weaker dollar, which will put a tailwind behind commodities in terms of pricing in dollars. But historically, when yields generally fall, that is most of the time an indication of weakness in the market, a slowdown, a recession, something in the market that people are running into bonds from. And if that's the case, then perhaps we get a slowdown that is coming. And the stock market is just drunk off of the yields going down kind of in the beginning of it. We want to look at stocks. We want to look at all these different sectors to see what they're trading like as well. TYX TNX ratio, it is up 0.4%. That's generally good and provides a tailwind behind precious metals. We did have a stronger dollar today, so with this going up, we also have to face a stronger dollar. But this is at a very low level, and a lot of the times if this cycles back up, we get a slowdown somewhere in this cycle back up. So the question is this going to come back up, or are we going to stay inverted for a longer period of time? And that's an answer I don't know. Last bull market, we stayed down. We stayed down here for a little while, and then we started to crash as this came back on up. In 2002, we turned the corner. The housing market turned the corner and started to generate some inflation, and we got inverted back all the way till 2007, and then we lost it in 2008. So I think that's a similar path that we're doing. We're compressed way down, the yield curve's inverted. This very well could come back up, signaling that we have a potential slowdown in the market. TLT bond prices continuing to go up 0.7%. Momentum is up on bond prices. Now, if you think a slowdown is going to occur, you could position in TLT or go look at shorter like treasury bills and go hang out over there. But if yields continue to drop, TLT will continue to go higher. That is something that will definitely do well if a slowdown or recession does occur. 2-year, 10-year, basically flat. So we're flat here. We've got 3 little downward movements right at resistance. If this uninverts, goes lower quickly, you probably have a problem. That's what it looks like by quickly. that's a problem. That is a problem. And then what occurs is you kind of stay at these high levels, and then they blow out. So you stay at these high levels, and then it blows out, and that's your problem. That is your problem. That is your problem. So we're looking to see for a blowout in this coming lower. We're signaling basically that you have a slowdown coming in the economy. So gold is flat today. It's slightly lower, but it's holding on and it's moving sideways kind of right there at that little bit of resistance area. We've got silver that's up a little bit, 0.32% up against resistance. That resistance line is the trend line coming down from the all-time highs coming across. Still looks okay, but we do have a big selling pressure candlestick here. Could this blow out at resistance to the downside? It very well could. I mean, we've got 2 big selling pressure candlesticks there. There's some big buying pressure in here too. So it's buyers and sellers basically fighting with each other right here. Platinum down a teeny bit, but it's still holding on. It looks all right. Looks all right. I'm just trying to see if there's any sort of pattern that we might get. We might get one last blowdown or something. Palladium down, but that's expected, guys. We've had a monster move here, and a little bit of profit taking somewhere is probably due. XAU to gold ratio is down a little bit. It is a stronger selling candlestick, so we could see some further downside here in the short term. We haven't broken any of the big resistance levels yet. CRB index down a little bit, and we came back and we're up against this support resistance line. We could see further downside here if we don't punch through. We're right at resistance, and we'll see if this either rolls over or if we punch through it over the next few trading sessions. CRB to S&P 500, it's coming back up. I think we're going to probably see some weakness in the S&P 500. I was looking at the charts, and this does look like we could potentially turn around and head higher for the short term. GDX is down today about 2.44%. It is a bearish engulfing pattern, and that generally indicates a trend reversal. If you were to chart it, all that is you basically just take kind of just an easy trend line here, and you just break the trend line to the downside. So we could see further downside in the very short term for some of these mining companies with the bearish engulfing there. GDX has a stronger selling pressure, and SILJ also has a bearish piercing. But we are kind of right at support resistance. We're right at those trend lines where we'll see what occurs and how strong this follow-through move will be tomorrow. It may not be that strong. Crude oil, flat today, basically, down 0.22%. Kind of just looking at the short term. Yeah, just down today, and it's not really a reversal candlestick. I mean, it is and it isn't. We have a little wick at the top. We've got support underneath us coming across. We'll see where it goes. We'll have to get more data here. TTF gas up 4% today, but the momentum's still to the downside. Natural gas getting a bearish engulfing here. This still looks like it wants to go lower or bounce around or something down here. So it's a bearish engulfing heading lower in the short term. XOP, yeah, you know me, hitting it up. So very nice. We've got a bullish engulfing here, and then we've got a bearish engulfing answering right back. So we had a nice good dig off this bottom, but we have still selling pressure today, which could indicate that we come back down and maybe we are still coming back and forth. So a little bit of selling pressure today. We could head a little bit lower in the short term, and we're still underneath that big neckline of XOP. So could see a little bit more selling pressure. OIH also seeing some selling pressure today. It doesn't look too bad. Yeah, it's got a little wick at the top. Yeah, we're going kind of sideways here. We'll see. We'll see what occurs over the next few trading days. Kind of a tough read. We're at resistance. We'll see if the buyers and sellers win here. Hopefully, we just punch right through this kind of resistance line going across there. Kind of like an inverted head and shoulders kind of. But we'll see. We'll see if we punch through here. Sprout Physical Uranium Trust. We are still inside of this rising wedge. Are we going to break down or higher? Don't know. We'll see here. URA getting a little bit of selling pressure. Today down 1.3%. Yeah, it looks so. I mean, it looks okay. We'll see what happens. We do have a bearish engulfing here. That generally indicates a pullback. URNM also on support. We'll see if that holds. And URNJ also on support. And we'll see if it holds. And we've got bearish engulfing here. We have a bullish engulfing here. We got the buyers and sellers basically duking it out back and forth. TAN seeing some selling pressure today. That does look like it could head lower in the short term. We'll see what the follow through looks like. And we've got support underneath us down here. So a lot of times you go up above resistance and then you come back and use it as support. COPX down a little bit. It's not a reversal candlestick. It still looks good. Still looks good. It's holding in there. Lithium down 2.87%. It's not a reversal candlestick. Looks like we just have some selling pressure going on today. REMX, same thing, not a reversal candlestick, but we do have a big congestion area in this area here. It's almost like a channel that's going back and forth. And maybe we have a little bit of selling pressure here in the short term. S&P 500 down 1.5%. It's a pretty big selling pressure candlestick. Let's back out. We're back up against that resistance line. And, as expected, you hit these big, almost all-time highs. You might get some resistance. We want to see what the follow-through is here. If we get big selling pressure follow-through like this, maybe not that big, but that means that obviously the sellers are there and they're overwhelming the buyers. If this thing kind of just goes down a little bit and maybe creates some sort of pattern or whatever, we got a chance to break through if it creates something like that, or if we just stay right underneath it, go sideways. NASDAQ doing the same thing. We are at very high levels, and we're starting to get to these levels that, they make me a little bit afraid because, you create a level like this, you come back, you got all these increases in interest rates. And this to me kind of looks like that Batman pattern that you get there. What's up, Batman? And this very well could be a double top. And the top usually peaks. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you could have a peak that tops, anywhere around that general area. And with yields coming back down, I don't know why the yields are coming back down, but generally when yields come back down after a very large increasing interest rate environment, there could be a slowdown in the markets. KRE down 2.33%, but it still looks good. It looks like we're filling this gap, and we could come back and do a retest before moving on up. Emerging markets getting a little bit more selling pressure today. There is a dividend, so I don't know how much of this. Usually on the X date, you get that big selling pressure day. So looks like it's sold off pre-market and it sold off a little bit throughout the day. A little bit of momentum to the downside. XHB still holding in there. That looks pretty strong for a continued move higher. It very well could pull back to this line coming through here. Maybe it pulls back there. Moo is down 1.7%. It's still above support. Still looks okay. Not a reversal candlestick. Copper, a little bit of selling pressure today, but still above support and the downtrend line break. Still looks okay there. We've got iron ore continuing higher. That still looks good to continue higher. We've got aluminum down a little bit, but this thing's had a monster move off the bottom here. And we're just coming up to some resistance. So we're feeling that resistance right now. Baltic Dry Index down. And again, I think we're going to go higher in this. Give it time. We just had a reversal candlestick, a little bit of selling pressure. But it still has the big up moves that you see. Those waves. Newcastle coal down with natural gas getting some pressure. I do think coal is going to get some pressure here too. but we're at a pretty good location. We're above support, above this big base that we created. Bitcoin heading higher. It's breaking out of its pattern to the upside, so that looks good to continue higher. Same with Ethereum. Ethereum looks good in a falling wedge. It looks like it wants to break to the upside. So that also looks pretty good. So a little bit of selling pressure today. Maybe we see a little bit more selling in the short term if there's some follow through from today's selling pressure. And that's all I've got really for today, guys. I mean, I'm getting some volatility, a little bit of selling pressure today. Could see it last. I mean, we could see it last for a long time, depending on the follow through of this selling pressure. So let's watch the follow through tomorrow and the day after. See if there is any follow through. And if there is, well, I mean, that's what we're going to have to see. So that's what I've got for today. Give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.